one of the things that I discovered that I think is really important, we tried a lot of things at Apple, and most of the things that I, tried didn't work out. But a few things I was excited about and grew, I think, to be very powerful. I think one, as a practice, it's very good to make things for each other. I think for that to become part of your, daily way of connecting to your team, to think about what you can make for each other, that's just it puts you in a lovely place. It makes you more worried about them than you. It makes you vulnerable, and it makes them grateful. And that's a lot, isn't it? I mean, those things, just think about what I said. That starts to define quite a lovely culture. And then connected to that, something I was really struck by.
Paul Graham says, make things people want, and Jony Ive says, make things for each other.
Yes. That's what we do, isn't it? I mean, all we're doing is at a very personal level, practicing what we're doing, at our professional level. All of us here, I guess, almost every single person here, we're about making something for other people. And so perhaps, I don't know quite.
Make things people want, I feel, is sort of a business strategy, whereas it sounds like what you're saying is make things for each other is a team strategy.
Well, so for example, one of the things I thought was great was that every Friday morning, I asked that one person on the design team would make breakfast for the whole team. And we took it in turns. And
so make things for each other. I'm imagining, prototype iPhones, but no, it can also be bacon, bacon and eggs.
I'm talking cornflakes and milk. We soared, dizzy heights of some of the food, and some of it was so shocking. But it all came from the same place in terms of motivation. And something that was connected that I was surprised at how powerful it was, excuse me, was we would take it in turns to have the design team come to our homes. And we would spend a day working in our home. And this is something I probably thought way too much about. But it was in a very, very powerful way of one doing or encouraging us in our practice to do good work, and in building the team. And I think there's an interesting dynamic in terms of how we regard each other. The host, and this is a bit like when we make something for one another. The host is slightly anxious and concerned about the potential judgment of their soft furnishings. And you know what it's like when you have somebody come to your house. There is a self-consciousness, and certainly an awkwardness I feel, and an anxiety. And I don't think that's unhealthy, always. And then the guests who you are hosting are, they're on better behavior than if they were all just trundling into a conference room. And then you've got the context. If you're designing for people, who here would actually want to spend time in a conference room? I can't think of a more soulless and depressing place. I always think, it's funny, think about the relationship between the chair you're sat on and how you feel. Like none of you would sit watching the TV on these chairs. You wouldn't choose to sit on this chair unless it was to listen to John and Patrick. So
I'm not sure that we're the attraction in this particular event.
But I think there is an important point, which is if you're designing for people and you're in someone's living room, sat on their sofa or sat on their floor, and your sketchbook is on their coffee table, of course you think differently, don't you? Of course your preoccupation, where your mind wanders, is so different than if you're sat in a typical, corporate conference room.